Hi, welcome back to PhatKid Garage. We're now on day 3 of the mini tub and coilover conversion install. I'm going to go over some of the things I've learned from doing the driver's side, and hopefully it helps somebody in the future who's doing this to their car, you know, kind of the mistakes that I made or the mistakes that I found as I was putting this together. So I'm going to try to go over more detail on the cutting process, what I use to cut, and the tools I use to cut it with. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, and we'll get started. So one of the first things I noticed when I did the driver's side was the template they give you in comparison to that upper shock mount up here is a little bit off, and it actually has you drawing the line in the wrong spot down here. So I moved the template essentially forward on this side. This is going to be my rough cut line here. This is going to be my permanent cut line here. And you can see the same thing up on the shock tower. So this should be, after doing the driver's side, this should be essentially, you know, the most I have to cut off to get this thing to fit right the first time. I still plan on doing the same as far as cutting right on this seam. That part went really well, but it was mainly down here where I was having some issues as far as how the cut came out in relation to the actual where the tub should actually sit. So again, this is a rough cut here. This should be my final cut. We'll go around to the back right now, and I'll show you what was different on that. So in the back was kind of the same. The template that comes around this shock tower came all the way back here and lined up with this edge when really it should line up with this edge. So I actually cut back too far on the driver's side and had to do a piece of patch metal in there to kind of take up that gap. But again, this is going to be the line that I cut here permanently. This is going to be my rough cut line across that shock tower. And this right here should be the line that actually sits against the edge of the tub when it's all said and done. So I'm going to lay out the tools, show you exactly what I used, and we'll go ahead and start cutting. So these are some of the tools I've been using when I did the driver's side. I got a battery operated Sawzall, 4.5 inch die grinder cutoff wheel, battery operated, a variety of chisels, a pry bar. These are actually really handy to break spot welds, you know, hammers, and a drill. The majority has probably been done with the cutoff wheel and the Sawzall, but again, these are some of the tools that I've been using to get that driver's side done. So let's go ahead and get to cutting on this passenger side. Let's go ahead and start cutting. Safety first. Cut I'm about to make is just essentially running along the inside of this line all the way through with the Sawzall to about right here. So it should just be one nice clean cut all the way up and through. Make sure any wires or anything on the inside of the car is out of the way, but this cut should just be easily made with a Sawzall. Let me get the light on this thing. These brackets right here are by far the hardest to get off the frame. They will take the most time. So I ended up just cutting through a lot of the bracketry just to get the inner fender well out. And then I had a little more room just to work on getting the spot welds that are attached to the frame. So let's continue on this and get this wheel well cut out. go ahead and move to the inside. There you go, those are rough cuts. I'll go ahead and finish cutting everything from underneath and we'll knock this one out. There we go. That is the rough cut opening. Let's get you trimming. So we got the first test fitting of the wheel tub on the passenger side. Looks really good. I'll have to do just a little bit of trimming right through here to get the tub to come in. And on the front, I need to trim this out right along through here to bring the tub in to take care of this gap that you can kind of see there. But the tub will move forward and inward after I cut this out. So looks really good. I'll show you a view from underneath here in just a sec. So this is what it looks like from underneath. And this is before we have to trim it. So essentially, you lose a section right through here when you trim it because they want it to butt up essentially right in this groove that fits all the way up and through here and comes down right about here. So looks like on the front we lose, you know, a couple inches. All these brackets still need all the pinch welds drilled out. This is probably the roughest part of this job, is getting these brackets off. It's just time consuming. There's welds that come up from underneath here that's really hard to get to. There's some that go onto the frame, and there's actually some that even go here. So getting these three pieces off is the most difficult part of this job. But we'll go ahead and finish a little more trimming and get the final set in, get the tub trimmed down, and get the finished work done. So, but on that note, that'll probably wrap it up for today's episode of PhatKid Garage. We're really close to buttoning up the wheel tub part of this. I'll show you on the other side that what it looks like, the finished product. It actually came out really nice. But I'll go ahead and lower the car and show you that one. This one I wanted to show you more of the cutting out and the actual process, and you know, I don't think I did that in yesterday's video, but I wanted to go ahead and do it in this one. So I'll go ahead and show you what the other side looks like. So this is the finished wheel tub with the rubberized undercoating all done. This is the frame rail where all those brackets were at. And again, it's all done, a little dusty. I still have to fill these holes, but that's not that big a deal. They're just some factory holes I didn't want to weld up quite yet. But this is what she looks like from down below. I'll lower the car and show you what it looks like from up above. From the trunk side, still need to get some paint on. I also still need to tack this trunk spring bracket back on, but I didn't want to do that till I got the other side done. But this is all seam sealed. This hole here I'm going to use for the upper shock mount for the new coilover setup. So this is going to stay open for right now, and I believe you have to make a bigger hole. So we'll go over that probably tomorrow. So check out the front. This is what she looks like from the front. Seam sealed and done. Of course, I got to get this bracket back on too, but that's just a couple little spot welds. So again, thanks for joining me on this episode of PhatKid Garage, and tune in tomorrow where hopefully we're wrapping this thing up and get it back under its own weight. So see you tomorrow. I'm out.